What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. It's Saturday, baby, and it's 4th of July weekend. Hope you enjoyed some fireworks tonight. Got to see so many, like literally the entire drive home. We kept seeing him. I parked, and down the road there must have been the town over. Like you could just see it. It was crazy. But hope you're enjoying the holiday weekend. Appreciate all of you. See the chat already going wild. Let's go. But I appreciate each and every one of you. You have any comments, any questions, please feel free to get them on in. But tonight, we're going to talk about the Eagles running backs and what they can do for this passing game. We have talked about this before, but told you I wanted to touch upon it. And, well, we're going to do that tonight. So, appreciate you all taking this time this weekend. I know it may be a busy one, but I see some of you guys were able to make it. But if you're watching this later, feel free to get in. Whatever's on your mind here, but we're going to go over some things here, talk about these Eagles running backs in the passing game. My man William in the air. Appreciate you tuning in. All is well. Hope all is well with you and your family. Hope you're having a great holiday. Same goes to you, my man Twisted. Josh making it in here for a live. Let's go. Appreciate you, my dude. Let's go Birds. Let's talk some effing Birds, though. And, I think I was just saying that the other day. I'm like, I might have to buy Madden here just because I really want to play with this team. And I think there's so much talent on offense and defense. And we're going to take a gander at that here tonight. So let's take a look here from NFL Total Access. The last few years, the passing game to the running backs, hasn't been exactly great. And we finally just had a 1,000-yard receiver this past season. And, well, it just so happened that we had two of them. So, you love to see that, but the check downs, things like that, sometimes you'd like to see that rather than Jalen Hurts having to run. You don't want him always having to put his body on the line. So you see here, since 2020, so you see 3 years, and this is when DeAndre Swift came into the league. But, oh, my God, he has almost as many yards with 26 less receptions there. So, man, this dude with only 13 less yards there, 5 more touchdowns, and only 2 less first downs, and 8.3 average yards per catch. So I think right there is very telling that, when you go out and trade for someone like DeAndre Swift, with the Lions, adding Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft, it was like, holy, you guys remember, we made a video that night. We talked about DeAndre Swift, the possibility of him getting traded to the Eagles, and well, it literally happened the next day, and I couldn't be more excited because we already have Rashad Penny. I'm very excited about Kenneth Gainwell, but adding someone like DeAndre Swift adds a whole new element to this offense. And Brian Johnson is able to create more plays with a guy that you really can use in the passing game. And it's not to say that you can't use the other guys we have, but we really haven't been doing too much there. So you see, one of the things we talked about before here, lowest check down rate in 2022 was Jalen Hurts at 3.4%. So, look, we did not check it down to running backs. And look, a lot of the times he was making plays with his legs. So, not too worried about it there, And I think that these running backs are really going to alleviate a lot of that in the run game as well. Not just, in the passing game. But adding a trio of backs, I think, is something we're going to see a lot of. Now, the trio last year was Gainwell, Scott, and Miles Sanders. But Miles Sanders goes to the Panthers, and now Swift and Penny replace him. And I think I'm all about it. So let's take a look at this running back room that we have here. And 3 of these guys I consider, pass catching running backs. And, that's DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell, as we mentioned, and Boston Scott as well. Trey Sermon, not so much. And then Kennedy Brooks, not so much either. He had 10 catches in 2 seasons in college, 9 the other year. So not really using that, and I don't know that he's going to be on the team, so not going to focus on him too much here. But we're going to talk about, Penny. I've talked about a north-south runner. Love having that. Maybe you don't have to use Jalen Hurts so much, although those 1-yard inch plays work so well, so I'm sure we'll use them. But, 2-3-yard plays, you got a guy like Rashad Penny, one of the best in NFL history, yards after contact. So, I'm all about it, man. But we're talking about the passing game here tonight. So we're going to take a look at DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, and Boston Scott, and what they've been able to do in the passing game and what they can do for Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, and this Eagles offense. So we've got badass receivers. We've been talking about that, the best in the NFC. We're going to talk about who's the best in the NFL. We'll talk about the tight ends here in a couple days. I've got a show ready talking about Dallas Goedert here. But these running backs, man, I think you're finally going to see something new in this offense where we're actually dumping the ball off to the running back, and not just dumping it off in plays where, you're breaking, nobody's open, the play's broken down. You can actually create plays where you're getting it to the running back because they're really good with the ball in their hands. So very excited about that. Nina in the house. Let's go. Appreciate you taking the time. Hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Staying safe out there. Really appreciate you taking the time. Hope you and the family are doing well. My man calling in here. Let's effing go. And I am very excited myself. I'm not going to lie to you, but what's going on, my man? Yo, we've got a little party going on in here, and that's what I like to see. The fireworks are going here. And yo, my man, I think that Trey Sermon, I'm really excited to see him, compete here. And it's going to be tough. Are we going to keep 4? I doubt we keep 5, but you never know. Is Trey Sermon going to be able to push out Boston Scott? A lot to see here. So we'll find out, my man. But I don't know. Maybe something happened there. Regardless, he's a little Minnie Mouse guy. But I love him. And I think that if he were not to be on this team next season, it would suck because you like him. Same with Miles Sanders, but I would understand it because I do like Trey Sermon as well. I think he's got a lot of talent here, but in the passing game, not so much. So it's the days of Deuce and Westbrook. Oh, my God. You want to talk about a guy that could get the ball out of the backfield? That is Brian Westbrook, one of my favorites of all time. So, man, pretty awesome. So he did not sign anywhere. But anyways, let's get into this. Let's take a gander at these running backs we're talking about here. So Boston Scott, he is somebody that you actually can use in the pass game. He just hasn't really done it the last couple of years. But in his first couple of seasons, you can see here, he actually had over a couple hundred yards in both of those seasons, 8.5 yards per reception in both of those seasons. So you like that. No touch or 1 touchdown that second season. And then, you look at his average in the 4 years here, I think 7.7, that's a great yards per reception, even with last year only having, 3 yards per reception there. And again, only 5 catches. So not really used in that facet of the game, but he can be almost 80% catch percentage. So the guy's good in the game, and only getting 1 reception per game in his career, obviously not used too well. And if he's not on the team, then you're not going to see it. But you've got guys that I think are going to really shine, and one of those guys is Kenneth Gainwell. And we talked about this with Miles Sanders leaving, and even with Rashad Penny brought in and DeAndre Swift, I still see Kenneth Gainwell having a huge season here and much better in his second season at catching the ball. As you can see here, a lot less targets, almost half less targets, but much better catch percentage. You can see almost 15% better there. So he's getting better in that department, 7.5 yards per reception. I'm all about it. So maybe we could see Kenneth Gainwell, have another 250-yard season, maybe over 300. Wouldn't be against it, but I think the only thing that's going to stop him from being able to do that is going to be someone like a DeAndre Swift. So I think that this offense is going to feature DeAndre Swift a lot. And now we've got really great receivers, tight end, quarterback, all kinds of players that can do stuff. But when you've got a running back like him, now you've got 3 really good running backs that I think are going to shine in Penny, Kenny, and, Swift here. So you don't have to overuse them. But I think that they're all able to bring something to the table that is going to allow Brian Johnson to really have a lot of creativity here with this offense. And I'm excited to see his play calling here and see what he and Nick Sirianni can game plan for the week with these guys. So you see here almost 4 receptions per game, 7.7 yards per reception. I know that other graphic showed 8.2, but almost 1,200 yards in those 3 years and 76.1 catch percentage. So DeAndre Swift, man, he is going to provide something that Miles Sanders really didn't. He kind of struggled in that area, and you saw it, in the past 3 years, with obviously 2 of those being with Hurts there. The Eagles just not much going to the running backs there. And I think for me, clearly this is why you bring in someone like Swift. This is why, I think Kenny was going to get used that way anyway, but you're going to see these running backs featured. And I think you're going to try to make sure that Jalen Hurts is around for the next 10, 15 years and takes us to a bunch of Super Bowls, builds this dynasty we've been talking about. So I think this run game is going to be huge, but don't think that these running backs can't catch the ball out of the backfield. Now, Rashad Penny, not so much in the catching department, but he can catch the ball. I just think that, you're going to see those other guys that we mentioned, and you've heard Nick Sirianni mention those two specifically as well. So all about it. Let's effing go. But yeah, I wish he was. I really wish he was Darren Sproles. He was one of my favorites to watch. I was so happy when we got him. But a big fan of Gainwell myself. Looking forward to seeing him kicking some ass. And I think this trio, they're all going to get featured. And each week it's going to be something different. And that's what's awesome. You game plan just like a defense. We talk about each week is going to be different. Your offense is different because you attack a defense a certain way. So when you have so many effing good players, you can come at a defense in so many ways. And if it doesn't work, you adjust, and you have so many different options that I'm pretty effing excited. And yes, they are cousins indeed. Gainwell running back one said that since Miles left. Well, I think all three of them are going to shine. Swift is going to see a hefty dose, though. And Gainwell, I've said it before, 1A, B, C. I don't care. I think that Penny, maybe not as much because you want to keep him fresh, especially come playoff time when it's cold. So maybe not so many carries at first. But I think Swift, Kenny, what they can provide, in the pass game. Now, Penny, when he provides, pass blocking, I think we talk about that a lot. Boston Scott can help in that area. Miles couldn't do that as well. So that's another reason he was lost. But I think that, these guys really, it doesn't even matter who's a starter. Just kind of like last year, you called Miles Sanders a starter, but a lot of games you saw Kenny starting the game or Boston was getting the first carry. So I think that there's going to be a lot of carries, a lot of catches for everybody to go around here. So I'm pumped up about it. But let me know how you feel about it. I think that all three of these guys could be featured running back number one on any team. So, well, not any team, but a lot of these teams that are, needy. So NFL caliber starters is what I should say. So, I think for me, a lot of excitement, but I get it. Somebody's always going to mention you guys stay healthy. Yes. Yeah. You want every player on your team to be healthy, but these running backs have had issues, the ones we just brought in. So we'll see. And with having three good ones, you hope that, right? They don't have to be used as much. You don't have to wear them into the ground like Pete Carroll's doing to Penny there and the Lions doing to Swift. So I think for me, you're going to see a healthy dose of all three of those guys, but you could definitely be Swift leading the way. But again, you want these guys to stay healthy. You want to see, and both of them on a contract year where it's going to be intriguing. If you let them walk, get some compensatory picks, do something where obviously for Swift, you'd get something, maybe not so much for Penny, but I think that, either way, maybe Swift has a great season, stays healthy. You sign him long-term, I mean like 3 years, maybe. So lock him up. You have a good running back. I'm all about it, man. And you've got this Georgia squad together, so a lot of excitement for me in this running back room. And you saw there, the three guys that could be featured here. Now, I think two of them, especially Swift and Gainwell, are going to have huge seasons. And this was just to focus on the passing attack. You've heard me talk about the run game, and we will continue talking about this all season. But I think this passing game, speaking on the fact that Jalen Hurts was the lowest in check down percentage, last year, it's telling that we need, take that as you will. It's not that like, oh, we need help there, you have to check it down. You do want to help him out. You don't want him, getting hurt all the time. And he's a smart guy. He knows when to go down, go out of bounds. But some people are always looking to hurt somebody. So you got to be careful. And I think having that talent, you don't have to be worried about Miles coughing it up, dropping it. And, not to knock on the dude, but it is what it is. But, we've talked about this before where it's like the passing to the running backs is an extension of the run game. And I think that you're going to see that featured again when a lot of what Doug Peterson did and even Nick Sirianni, when he started, it's Sirianni said it himself, he looks at those plays and a lot of coaches do. Andy Reid, I'm talking about people from that tree, so it's like, I think, when you look at what this team is able to do with Jalen Hurts and with these receivers and tight ends, now that you add the running backs, I couldn't imagine being a defense trying to stop this offense. I think we're going to be one of the best, top three for sure. Maybe top two, not number two. I don't know. We're going to be compete with the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills are out there. So it's going to be, and I'm talking about points and yards. I want to see the best out of all of it. And last year we were doing pretty damn good. And I think the run game is something we really need to. And we did run the ball a lot actually last year. And I thought we did well, but it was just not coming out the gates running the ball. Again, that's back to like they look at these dump off things, as run plays and Jalen Hurts. It's like, all right, dude. But regardless, I think a lot more to the running backs getting the ball and a lot less Jalen Hurts getting hit is really what the focus here is. So I'm all about it, man. And I think these running backs are going to shine, and I'm very excited. We talked about this last week when I talked about, this running back corps as a whole. They didn't have them featured in the top 10, and I think that's laughable because you guys can go check that video out. I'll pin it at the top in the comments here, but I think these running backs are going to do really well, and I'm excited about it. So I want to run it more than we throw it, but yeah, man, the same with me. And this team, this offensive line wants to run it. They want to bulldoze people. We are one of the best offensive lines still, whether it's Tyler Steen or Cam Jurgens at right guard. We're going to pick right up and just dominate there. And we struggled at times in the past game, not Lane Johnson. But, I think this team, they're going to be able to clean some things up, build on this offense and defense. So both sides, I think this team is building a championship caliber team. You've heard me say it. I think we're winning the Super Bowl, but I think we're building a dynasty here. I think this team is going to dominate for years with Jalen Hurts at the helm, man. And the way they're building it, I told you, if we could get Jalen Carter, that's it. I'm locking it in. And boom, we got him. I'm locking it in. Dynasty, baby. Let's effing go. Let's go. But, we can pass it. We can throw it. We can do anything. Our quarterback can kill you. Just imagine that for a defense. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Maybe Quez steps it up. Alamade's there. Dallas Goedert, Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. Maybe Dan Arnold steps it up. And then, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell. And the quarterback, kind of Jalen Hurts. So best of luck to the defenses out there. But, oh, my Lord, I'm very excited about it. But I think once he, adds that to his game, and we've talked about having this offense, you're just building on it. It's nothing new. I mean, yes, there's going to be new stuff. Don't get me wrong, but there's always things you add. But I think that's an extension of it. I don't think Brian Johnson's going to make things complicated for Hurts. It's going to be building on it, right? So they've been together a long time. He knows them. I think this offense is going to be very, very exciting. And if he adds that to his repertoire, and I think, he's already shown he knows when to go down. He's trying to protect the ball. He's had some sacks, so we got to work on that, right? We don't want those sacks. We don't want him running for his life. We don't want that, even if he is a smart guy making good decisions. I'd rather him have somebody open that he can trust in, and I think we've got that here, ladies and gentlemen. But that's all I've got for you here tonight. If you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let me get to the rest of these comments here, but I really can't imagine, and I can't wait to see what this team can do. I know we've only got 71 days until the first game, but look, we're going to count it down. We're going to get excited. We're going to make it through, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that. Eagles number 1 points last season. Hey, and, you talk about this offense. We showed it. We could have beat them, and they took away our defense. They took away our pass rush, and I'll never forgive them. Even Brandon Graham feels that way. And, AJ, I think, for me, he'll probably have around like 14, 15 again. I think AJ or Devontae, could look for him to have 13, 14. I would be excited about that if we could get more passing going. But I also could look at it and say maybe AJ has 12 and Devontae's more like 1,000 because Dallas Goedert might have like 950. Because to me, Dallas Goedert was a huge part of this team before he got hurt, was on IR, all that stuff. And man, I think Dallas Goedert is going to be somebody that's going to suck for a team because you heard the narrative, Jalen Hurts can't throw across the middle. Destroyed that one. Oh, can't throw in the pocket. He was like number one in all those categories. The dude can do it all. So if you add this, night, and that's what he's doing right now. I showed you guys the video of him training right now. He's doing everything he can. He doesn't have to learn a new system. We talked about what that would do for the first time last year. Well, you saw it. Almost an MVP season. Took us to the Super Bowl. One of the best quarterback performances you've ever seen. So, yeah, I think it's on this year. So I think this defense is going to be better. I think this offense is going to be better. So night, NFL. Make it easier. Oh, yeah, exactly. And that's what they want. They definitely want that. They always will want that. They don't want to be backing up, breaking their ankles and twisting and turning. So let's go, baby. But, Colin, appreciate you taking the time tonight, my man. Hope you have a great night. Hope you enjoy your holiday. I will not be here tomorrow going away, but I will be back on Monday. We'll be talking some birds. But, let's talk about it. Last year, Christian McCaffrey had over like 700 some yards receiving. And I think, the Eagles, you could see DeAndre Swift going over 500 receiving yards for the first time in his career. I think that could happen this season. I think you could really implement him into this. But again, you have Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown and Devontae. So maybe he only has like 350, maybe Kenneth Gainwell only has like 200. So you get like 550 total out of the running backs. Not against it. I think that's a 550 yards that Jalen Hurts didn't have to run it, in a broken down play or just a creative play that, something, whatever. You have the option now. So all about it. But if you're watching this later, you have any thoughts, please feel free to let me know how you're feeling about these running backs, how you feeling about the Eagles season. I'm pretty effing excited, but Josh, appreciate you making it live tonight. Dang burrito, Luffy. Yo, I appreciate each and every one of you. And Nina was in here in the beginning and Twisted, I know. So appreciate you guys. And William, if you're still tuned in, really appreciate you, my man, and everybody else who's taking the time. I love you all. Hope you all have a great holiday. Happy 4th of July to you. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out. But I'll be back on Monday. Until then, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me now. Go Birds!